Hello, ladies and gentlemen. A very, very warm welcome to you to episode number 25 of the Nishkarsh Sharma Show. Today, we're going to be speaking with Parul Bhargava, who's the CEO of Vcomission, which is India's biggest affiliate network. Now, before I formally introduce Parul to you, ma'am, a very, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, and hello to your viewers as well.
You're welcome. And in fact, it's such a pleasure to have you. Thanks for taking time out of this. Like I was asking you, we met in the India Affiliate Summit almost 2.5 years back. That was I was a speaker in the event, and meeting you has been awesome. And then we catched up in Landmark Forum, wherein we were in that course together for 3 days. So it's been a pleasure to know you as a human being, and of course as an entrepreneur as well. So, okay, now let me first, tell the audience who you are, where you come from, and then we can dive straight into into the conversation. So, Parul is a charismatic leader and one of the most refined women entrepreneurs in the field of digital and performance marketing in India. With her roots in Delhi, she completed her education in technical field of engineering from IP University and started a professional career as a content writer in 2007. A go-getter by nature, Parul has so far successfully grown the roots of Vcomission to newer horizons to become India's leading global affiliate network with a team of more than 100 people. I've been to the office. It's awesome. Her strength lies in team building and providing end-to-end solutions of her clients' marketing requirements that has led the company to be a profitable venture. She's often invited to public forums to share her knowledge and experience in digital media like ASOCHAM, AIMA, IAMAI, etc., and envisages to interact on various other platforms. And in her free time, Parul loves to read, write, and travel, thus exploring newer places, opportunities. She carries a captivating zeal with her that makes her dream larger than life and strives for always achieving her goals. So that's what Parul is about. That's the formal
Thank you.
introduction. And now, and now let's just begin with this. So, Parul, I'm really, really excited to know. In fact, I've not really asked you this question personally, but where do you come from? I mean, let's talk about when you were in school, when you were in college, when you were growing up. What were you as a person, and what led you to reach, to get started with the, entrepreneurship? You mentioned content writing, entrepreneurship, becoming a CEO. So, what's your story?
Yeah, honestly, I've been thinking about it more and more. And as I grow older, I look back upon, my childhood, which I felt was, very, very average. But now having a 4-year-old daughter, I feel that, growing up, I'm born and brought up in Delhi. Growing up, I had a very, very humble, upbringing from a middle class family. um, I have been, honestly, academically, I have been a very, very average child. I was a very, very average child. But I think I was always very chirpy. And the good thing, the best thing that happened with me was that my parents, gave me the freedom to make my own decisions. And they empowered me to speak my heart out and express myself. And I think now at a stage in life, where I run a company, manage hundreds of people and a beautiful family, I feel that is my biggest strength, that I'm able to express myself, I'm able to take decisions, and I absolutely attribute it back to my parents.
Beautiful. That's awesome. So, after getting done with, let's say, your schools, what like how has your journey been? At what point of time did you start working? So, were you in a job first, or I mean, were you working for someone else? And then, how did you transition into entrepreneurship and finally becoming the CEO and everything else that we just spoke about?
Yeah, so right after school, engineering happened by chance. I really was not a very, very bright student, never an IIT aspirant or
Hmm.
anything that, I aspired for
Okay.
IIT and then eventually landed to some other engineering college. I was very
Hmm.
happy with my admission in Hindu, from my academics, and I just
Yeah.
wanted to chill. But when I did appear for engineering exams because I come from a family of engineers. All my cousins and everyone in my paternal family is an engineer, so obviously I had to give those exams, but no compulsions. And very interestingly, when I saw my grades, I literally saw that I didn't do bad, and I could take this up as a career as well. I had no clue what I'm getting into, but that's how that happened. In the last year of my engineering, I realized that I don't think I want to be at a back end job sitting in front of a computer just coding all day. And, that's just not me at all. So that's when I started venturing out and I started, working at part time jobs, running, small part time jobs in my last sem of college, working as an English trainer, running errands, here and there just to make some quick pocket money. And that's when I happened to meet Tarang. uh,
Yeah.
I worked with him as a content writer for some time. So officially, I have never worked in any company. I've just had
Mm.
some fun experiences seeing very small time companies. And
Mm.
when after a few years of joining Tarang, when we realized where we want to take the business, that's when the idea of Vcomission popped up, and he entrusted me to run the show. So basically, it is his brainchild, and he completed the strategy and he decided what needs to be done, and I am the executioner. So I just made it happen, and I still make it happen. So that's how it has been. It has really been a roller coaster ride. If I look back, I now complete 4 years of professional experience, 14 years,
Mm.
sorry, of professional experience, out of which 12 odd of entrepreneurship. So it has
Mm.
absolutely been very beautiful ride, and I won't say that it was a mundane task
Mm.
any day of the past 14 years.
Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty good. There's one thing that you mentioned about coming from a family of engineers. I totally get it. Wherein I have a very close friend who's coming from a family of doctors, but specifically for him, he took entrepreneurship as a career as well. It was very difficult for him to take that and convince his family. But then, of course, if your family is supportive, things definitely get a lot easier, and that's like one thing that I definitely agree with, coming from a similar background. So you mentioned that you've been, the executioner, and you're someone who makes things happen, which is awesome. In fact, this is one thing that we've had a couple of episodes about. Like episode number 2 of the show is about the art of getting shit done. Then there's another one that we recently did about how to be consistent. So, how do you manage to get shit done? How do you manage to, pull off such huge projects? How do you manage to lead the team, and what is your secret, or what have you learned about productivity and execution in the last 12 years of entrepreneurship?
So I'll break this question in two parts. One
Mm-hmm.
is doing things by yourself, because obviously when we started, we were a very, very small team. And, from a janitor to CEO, everything was me. And I had to do everything. We were a very, very small team. Like I only had four people with me and all data entry, kind of people back in 2009. This is back in 2009. So from basically everything had to be done by me. So there I would say maximum learning happened, because when we started Vcommission, I often joke about it. We asked Tarang's friends to join as affiliates and help us run the network, and they used to really make fun of me by asking very, very difficult questions. Like one person asked me that he wanted to place a pixel, which we now call postback. And I had no clue what a pixel was. And I was studying the entire night. What is it that he's asking me to do, and how can I make it happen? So I think the first few years when I was, doing the technical, I was doing sales, I was doing management, I was doing finances, I was doing team management. Um, so I think that was kind of the most enriching part and the most self growing or self grooming part of my personality, whether it be going to the first sales call, or making the first presentation, or hiring the first batch, or making the first invoice or releasing the first payment. So I think there I learned what are the basics of my business are that I want people for. And as and when we scaled up, we realized that one person cannot really run the show, two people cannot really run the show, and we definitely need a team to grow. So that part, when I hired my first team of B school graduates, and how I groomed them to run a team of an affiliate network, which in itself is was like very new concept in India. It still is
Yep.
to a huge
Hmm.
extent, but then it was like even more so very complicated. So I think the next chapter of my entrepreneurship was managing a team, getting things done from the
Hmm.
team, and that
Hmm.
evolved me into a very different person altogether. So yeah, so my journey, I think I would really split it into two parts. One is self learning, self growing, doing everything by myself and learning what needs to be done and how. And then secondly, managing a team of people so that they are able to do it successfully. And I think in the second phase, I am constantly still learning. Now we are a team of about 100 people. So
Great.
managing hierarchies and how to keep even the lowest level of hierarchy motivated with the company's vision as people who interact with the founders directly is again something that we need to keep on learning and growing. So that's the stage I'm in right now.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's awesome. So I understand, that when you're starting out, you're pretty much doing everything yourself, and then you transition into, the leadership position or the mentor position, wherein you're actually now teaching people how to do it. So there was this one event that I went to, this mastermind event, which also had Tarang, sir. So we had this conversation about building systems. And I remember him quoting that even if a pen moves in my company, there is a process for it, right? Like these
Yeah.
were his exact words, and I was really intrigued. So when this is specifically for people who are just starting out, people who have become profitable and now want to scale. So what would you like to say to them about building systems and processes? Like, how exactly have you done that? So let's say right now, let's go back to those days when it was just you and maybe a couple more people, really close people who were building the company. You made it profitable and now you want to scale it. So what were the exact steps that you were taking on the implementation level, on the execution level? Like in our company, what we do is we use tools like Trello, wherein we have these video trainings, these video tutorials created for everything that we do. We use this app called Notion, wherein every process is in there. We have onboarding processes, and we use this app called Smart Tasks as well, right? So on a daily level, what all tools are you using, and how did you transition from that phase yourself when you started scaling up on the level of the human resources?
So I would first of all, correct that Tarang's statement just a little bit. We have a process if a pen needs to be moved twice. So obviously you need to do something once, that's fine. But if something needs to be done twice or more than that number of times, then we obviously try to lay a process, for it. The first time I kind of made a process, that was back in 2010. That's when I hired my first team. I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, I did not know so many tools back then. And even if there were tools that we got to know, we were not in a situation to invest heavily, because we were investing very heavily in a tracking software, which back those times were the most expensive part of running an affiliate network. They were really really pricey at that point in time. So I think I did everything on Excel and Word, and that's how we started. uh, there was nothing kind of fancy in creating processes. It was very very simple. The first ever tool that we bought was Zoho Invoice, if I remember it correctly.
Mhm.
Yes, Zoho Invoice, because I we didn't have an in-house finance team back then. We just had an outsourced person who used to come once a year for all the,
Okay.
compliance. So I
Invoicing
had to,
accounts. Yeah.
yeah, I had to create my own invoices, and a big pain for me was, what if we forget a small amount that we have to collect, or what
Mhm.
if we are not following up on time? Because while you are trying to grow the business, it is very, very important also to collect money on time, especially being a B2B business. So the payment is not coming up front. Most of the invoices are on credit. So that's the first, tool that we started with. Then slowly and gradually we started investing in different tools like Microsoft Suite, obviously, but started using it more extensively to make presentations, to make media decks and stuff like that. After that,
Mhm.
we invested in a collaboration tool, and that was Bitrix. We kind of still use it because I realized that when the team size was growing and we had different departments, it was very difficult, to keep the team on the same page, even when we are like a very small team of about 15-20 people. But
Mhm.
collaboration and documenting the collaboration became really the need of the hour. At this point
Mhm.
in time, we use Zoho One, which kind of automates a lot of stuff for us, from monitoring basic things like attendance, to performance management, to EOD reporting, to reimbursements. Everything is done on Zoho One at this point in time. And why Zoho One, if you ask me? So there was a time, when we realized that we were using a specialized software for each task, like for
Mhm.
collaboration one, for invoicing other, for Excel collaboration other, for sharing of files, another one, etc. And we realized that we were using about 20 tools at any given point in time,
Oh.
and to search a
Mm.
particular file became like such a big hassle, that where did we
Mm.
exactly share the file, on the collaboration tool
True.
or on the file sharing tool,
Mhm.
or blah blah blah. So then we realized that we really need to get a grip, because we
Mm.
had different softwares when we were just a team of 15 to 20 people. It
Okay.
wasn't
Mm.
so difficult to recall things back then. The size of the
Mm.
business was very small. As the number of people grew, as the team size grew, as the clients grew, as business is growing, it is very important to keep track. A lot of people are moving in and out as well. People leave, new people join, and the dilution of content cannot lead
Mm.
to dilution of business. There should not be dilution of
Mm.
content, is what
Mm.
these days I'm trying to aim at. So Zoho that ways fit in the puzzle perfectly for us. And I'm very, very hopeful that this tool, in another one more year, will impact to our growth, because we will be spending much less time in mundane tasks and much more time in productivity tasks. And we will also be able to um, kind of express each one's performance very transparently, so that everyone knows where they are going with the company, if they are or if they aren't.
Got that. Makes sense. So tell me something, like when you're scaling up, okay, fine. On the technical level, we have tools and we can create systems and processes. That's fine. How do you deal with the daily problems with human beings, right? So let's say things like people, keeping them moving towards one vision, or like I'll share my experience with you. When we started hiring a team, we sucked at it, and I know that we were new to it, and everyone struggles when they're doing something new. We didn't really have a system in place to track their performance. We didn't really have a system in place to ensure the work that they're doing and when are they coming, when are they leaving, if they're growing or not. We used to randomly give raises to people where, okay, fine, you're getting joined in at the 30,000 salary, okay, next year we're going to make it 40 or 45. And then it used to come back at us, wherein we were setting the wrong expectations with the people that we were working with. So and then there was a point wherein we realized that everyone was not really chasing the same vision. Maybe someone was in the company just to make money, someone was in the company, just because they wanted to learn how our company was working so that they could model what we were doing, right? And because of that, we had to hire people over and over again, let go of wrong hires, and eventually we realized that what works for us and what kind of people we want to work with. So what is your suggestion for people who are at this stage, who've not really started scaling up, who've not even, let's say, made one hire? What is your suggestion for them pertaining to hiring the right kind of employees, hiring the right kind of people, and how can they ensure, starting from day zero, that they have the right people and that their people are moving in the right direction, and that these people are connected with the founders or the CEOs?
Hmm. Hmm. I think, Nishkarsh, this is, kind of the key to success, because individually I feel it is easy to
Hmm.
succeed. It is easy to create a
Hmm.
profitable model when you're just by yourself, because you know what you want to do, you know of where you want to go and how you want to do it. But when you do it with people, it is very, very important to communicate. So I think, and obviously, like you, I also made many, many mistakes. When I was hiring my first team, it was a disaster
Hmm.
back then. But I'm glad that, in these 10 years, I've come a long way, and now I
Hmm.
consider myself to be like a good people's person. I
Hmm.
think two, three things that have really, really helped us. One is direct and open communication. So, whenever we are hiring someone, we try to be very, very direct as to why we are hiring that person and what is expected out of that person. And we try to jot it down in black and white as much as possible. So, for
Hmm.
example, if I might have team of designers, and now I want to hire a creative lead, now that person should really know what is his job role, why was that position created in the first
Okay.
place, in spite of having so many designers already. And while we hire that person and invest, obviously a lead will come at a higher cost to the company as well. And now that the company has decided to invest this money, what is the exact expectation from the person? Obviously, if a job role is created, there are challenges and there are expectations. So I think these are the two things that should be communicated to the person very, very directly, especially at the time of interview, so that the person can decide whether he is in for the challenge or not. It could be a big challenge, it could be a small challenge, but everyone has a different drive to work. Like, for example, you are an entrepreneur, you have a different drive. Someone who's working with you might not have the same drive, and their drive could be money, which is not
Hmm.
wrong. But
Hmm.
you should know that they will get money, or they will get a good raise if the company reaches this particular stage, or if he solves this particular problem for the company. So I think the
Hmm.
first and foremost, key to managing people, or hiring people, is at the time of interview, be open and direct about the expectation that the role is and what does it demand. And that also means that an entrepreneur should also know what he's looking at, whether he's looking at a
Hmm.
specialized position or a jack of all trades kind of position.
Hmm.
Second, Nishkarsh, I think the another key is timely feedback. I know for
Okay.
most entrepreneurs, this looks like, very time consuming process, and every,
Hmm.
3 months, you can't sit down with a person giving him the same feedback. But trust me,
Hmm.
people need it. Um, because everyone has a different drive, and people need to be told. This is what I feel. They need to know where they are going. They need to know where we are going wrong or right. They need to be appreciated, they need to be corrected. So by feedback, I don't just mean negative feedback and what someone
Okay.
lacks, but also appreciation, for if someone is doing well. And I think if someone is doing well, it is all the more important to sit with them at a regular interval and tell them that they are doing very well, so that they continue working with the same zeal. I think if these two things are done well, they can really lead to the success of the company. There are few additional things that can be done, which in my opinion are not mandatory, but if done, they can really bind the team together. Something like an all hands meeting, or meeting where the entire company comes together to discuss everything that's going on, not just positive but negatives as well.
Yeah.
So say for example, if the month of Feb was not good for me, then I, as the CEO of the company, will not shy away from saying that, guys, last month was not good for us and we need to buck up and we need to do something about it. If there is a challenge in my office, it could even be like a broken toilet, for that matter.
Hmm.
I, as the head of
Hmm.
the company, should be equally comfortable talking about it in front of the whole lot by saying, yes, this is an issue that we have at hand and we will solve it. So these are some traits, if brought into a company, they bring the company together, and they knit the people with the same vision. They give people confidence that the company is there for a long time. And another thing could be R&R, rewarding people with awards or incentives or bonuses. That also really helps in keeping especially the business people motivated. So I think these
Hmm.
are a few tricks that have I found that have worked for me. If I talk about back in 2010-11, the
Hmm.
average
Hmm.
age of a person in the company was 6 months. Now, at this point in time, the average age of a person in of a teammate in my company, of a colleague in my company, is more than 3 years. And I think this is something that I am really really proud of. And now I'm working towards bringing this up to 5 years. So.
Hmm.
Uh, if we bind people together, there is no way they will leave out and look for another opportunity. This is what I feel.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's beautiful. Like this one thing that you mentioned about setting the right expectations when you are interviewing someone, I think that's pretty important.
Yeah.
This is one mistake that I've made as well, wherein I remember, back in those days of 2015. It was 2015 when I got done with my engineering as well. So made a couple of hires and just was going with the vibe. Okay, this person is fine, vibe's good, seems like a good person, let's just hire him or her. And then
Absolutely.
after getting started, we used to realize that what the hell, like this person sitting idle, or this person, I mean, it used to be really crazy. So, and I totally agree. Like now, I remember just yesterday, I was having this conversation with someone for Digital Dukandar. We need to hire a community manager. And now, whenever we talk, we're pretty clear from day one that, listen, this is what we expect. We ask them for their expectations as well, so that, so that we stay on the same page when we move ahead, because this has happened with us wherein people have joined us and spoiled things, wherein people in copying our model and doing all of that. So now, again, with experience, we've learned that now finally a couple years back we started getting those agreements and all those employment contracts signed. Before that it was nothing. Like we
Hmm.
just used to email people telling them that this is okay, congratulations for joining in, and you're going to be put on notice. When we used to tell people that okay, we don't want to work with you, people were not even okay serving the notice period, because we didn't even have something to prove that okay, a notice period even exists. So again,
Yeah.
we've learned that with experience, and we totally get it. Okay, so there's one thing that I've personally struggled a lot with when it comes to managing a team. uh, in growth related roles, let's say someone's in BD, someone's in business development or marketing or sales. These people can explore a lot of things. They have targets to achieve. They can explore a lot of different traffic sources, revenue generation sources. That's fine. What about roles that are boring? Specifically, let's talk about, let's say, customer support. Okay. Let's say, like, specifically in e-commerce, customer support is boring. Like, this is the feedback that we've got from the people who do customer support for us, usually out there, virtual assistant from Philippines, all of these guys. We personally, like, this is a challenge that we have, and a lot of people that I know have, that how do we keep these people together? Yes, you can let them know where the company is going, yes, you can let them know what we're doing, but then on a daily basis, these people get bored doing the same set of things over and over again. So how do you ensure that these people, stay connected, and that these people are also growing as you grow? Because maybe your revenues are growing, but the same customer support executive, let's say, is doing pretty much the same thing over and over again. Same set of problems are showing up, same set of responses are being given. So what is your take on that?
That's actually a very interesting question. So, back in the times when I used to manage most of the team myself directly,
Hmm.
one thing that I did, Nishkarsh, was sit down with everyone and tell them why their job is important. So even if someone joined at, my front desk, I would literally sit down with them and tell them why they matter to Vcomission. What is it that they can do that can spoil our reputation? And no matter what, that should not be done. So, like for example, I think, let's say even HR can be a very tricky job. But if you ask my HR team that, what is your role in Recommission, you know what they will answer? They will answer, we are like a salesperson, okay? They will answer,
Hmm.
we are the face of Recommission, and a person's first interaction with the team is through us. So we need to make sure that we are giving the same impression about the company, and we are selling the company to a candidate so that we can hire him. So I think this is
Hmm.
something that really needs to be done. For example, my operations team, where their job is, if I very mundanely put it, it is data entry. They have to
Hmm.
map files.
Hmm.
We have millions of conversions every month, so they have to map which is approved, which is denied, and they have to upload it, if I put it very mundanely. But I think that's the most important team in my organization, because number one, they have all access. Number two,
Hmm.
they have access to even modify the data. So, not just look at it, but even modify the data. And number three, if anything goes wrong in that department, my whole company can fall apart. Now, this is something that I know, but if I don't tell them that, you are my most trusted people in the organization, and if anyone is asking you to tamper any data, then you just need to come to me very, very quietly. So I think that's the thing that I kind of do. I try to sit with people and tell them what the department stands for, what is the management expectation out of it, why they are important to the organization. I still try to do it, once every 6 months, which with all the different departments, and even talk about challenges. So while I'm trying to tell them that, I might sit with HR team and I might try to tell them, again that, this is what we've got to do. You guys are my foot soldiers and you have to do it for me, etc.
Yeah.
At the same
Hmm.
time, I will also give them freedom to tell me the challenges that, these are the roles and these are the salary expectations that we have in our company, which are not at par with the industry, or etc., etc., anything. So
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
think that's the two-way communication that we really need to have with each department, with each role, so that they feel empowered. And
Hmm.
I feel that, like for example, a department like customer success, the
Hmm.
mundanity of the job, it's not just for e-commerce, it is across industries. You look at KPOs, you look at call centers, you look at, support centers. It's not just your and my company. It is the role. What we can do for people is give them a good experience, give them an assurance that, when we grow as a company, then they will have a senior role, and if they
Hmm.
continue to do their job well, they are going to be the next, torch bearers for us. So I think that's kind of what I believe in, being very
Hmm.
honest, basically.
Hmm.
So if a person is working with you in customer success and he or she is doing very well, it is most likely that the next person that you hire will be under him, right? You will try to keep
Hmm.
maximum
Hmm.
people away from you as much as possible. So I think just
Hmm.
keep on communicating these things which are mostly running in our heads, so that people also know that we are planning something for them. And if
Hmm.
it might happen, then they are at a much higher advantage.
Awesome. That's great. In fact, quite honestly, when we started this session, I had no idea that it's going to go in this direction. But this is so great. This is just awesome because these are diamond, not even gold. These are diamond nuggets for people who are at a stage wherein they are planning on, they're planning to
Thank
scale.
you.
People with, yeah, people who, running small businesses, have a couple of team members, because I know that we've struggled with this so much, wherein we want freedom, but then if we leave them, on their own, things get really screwed up, because this is one mistake that we've made, wherein, okay, we hire people, we just let them know what they want to do, and then we, and like, these things that you mentioned, I'm actually taking notes. This thing about you mentioned something about an all hands meeting wherein you share the positives and negatives. This is one thing that most people don't do. They would share the positives. Like, this is one thing that I'm guilty of as well, wherein we tell the positives, we keep them motivated, but then we don't really tell them what's going wrong. And the interesting thing is, I'll tell you, my dad was saying this thing to me, that your employee, even the lowest level that you have in your company, will know everything about what's going on. They will know your
Yes,
revenues, they will know your profits, they will
yes,
know every single thing, even if they have no access to anything. So it's very important
absolutely.
that, rather than letting them identify that, just be very honest with them about the problems and what's going on and what's coming, because so that they feel that, we're in it together. That's very important. You mentioned something about rewarding people with rewards, incentives, bonuses, keeping them motivated so that they feel that, yes, they're being appreciated. It's like running any relationship, like, this is what I've realized. And a lot of times people don't really treat their team members like, real human beings. They don't really focus on relationship building, like they do with their customers. So I agree with that. And you mentioned this thing about letting your team know that why do they really matter, what is it that they're doing, how their role really contributes in the long term vision of the company, making them feel valued, and of course asking them that what is it that they need. The challenge is being in communication, speaking up. Awesome. Like, these are really, really great things. So tell me
I'll
something.
tell you an interesting thing, just out of
Yeah, yeah,
context.
go ahead.
So
Hmm.
we obviously have an IT team as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
I sat my IT team down one day. We had like a big outage, and my team was, off internet for about 30 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
sat them down. I made a calculation on the paper that, this is the amount of money that I lost.
Hmm.
Now, I'm not telling
Oh.
him that I lost it because of him, but I wanted to tell
Hmm.
him that if he
Hmm.
had worked diligently to make
Hmm.
sure that he checked everything while it was being installed, I would not have lost this money, and that is why I trust him to do his job. So, and now I think whenever anyone's system breaks down, or when there's an outage in our office, my IT team runs like it is their personal issue, and wherever in the world they would just come together and try to
Hmm.
solve it. So I have one IT person in Mohali and two here. So with one boss, so they all come together and try to solve, whatever they can.
Hmm. Yeah, that's pretty good. That makes a lot of sense. So, this brings me to the question that in the last couple of years, 12, 14 years, let's say, what are those core values, or what are those core things that has made Vcommission what it is right now? And not just Vcommission. We know that, okay, Vcommission is a 9-10 figure company, 100 plus team members. You guys have so many sister companies. You guys invest in different ventures as well, and then you guys keep coming up with something or the other. You guys do events as well. There is so much that's actually cooking. It's not just Vcommission overall. So, in such a short span of time, how have you guys? Now, of course, I'm not really asking you to go into the details of it, but what are those things, those attributes that you guys use in your, on a daily basis, when you're making business decisions, when you're doing partnerships, when you're investing, what is it that we commission is looking into, what is it that Parul is looking into, when it in terms of growth? So what have been your secrets in the last 14 years?
Nishkarsh, the most important one in bold and underline has been commitment.
Hmm.
If we commit something to someone, number one, of course, we try to deliver it as much as possible. But then there are situations also where you cannot still face the situation and stand there in front of the person and not disappear. I think commitment is the most important thing that has worked in our favor, especially in the affiliate industry when Indian affiliates themselves did not trust Indian, networks. I think Vcommission is one such network that has the reputation, to pay on time. My, finance team, though most finance teams have targets to on receivables, my finance team also has a target on payables. So,
Okay.
yeah, because we want to pay on time. We don't want
Hmm.
invoices just standing and not paid or not closed, whatever. So I think the
Hmm.
most important thing for us has been commitment, whether it is internally, whether it is externally. And I feel fortunate that we've been able to live up to it, not just Tarang and I, but my whole team put together. So I think this is something that we really try to inculcate in our people, that and even if someone commits something and he moves out of decommission, we make sure that the commitment is honored. So that, I think, has been the most important factor for us to grow and scale when the industry has been so dynamically changing in the past 14 years. I thousands of networks have mushroomed up, and the
Hmm.
reason why we still hold our position and we don't succumb to new energetic companies still being the elephant size that we are is because there are
Hmm.
certain values that we want to stand by. So one definitely is honoring our commitment.
Yep.
Second, I would say, Nishkarsh, is integrity. We never try to cheat someone. We never try to cut back on anything. We never try to indulge, in practices that are only beneficial to V Commission and are not beneficial to the other party, because, our line of business is such that I'm a network. I am neither the advertiser, I'm not the
Yep.
publisher, and I am
Hmm.
not going to grow, I'm not going to flourish unless both of them come to me. So I think the second one has definitely been integrity, or we can also call it win-win. So that also has really led us to grow. The third one, I would say, is knowledge. We are a very, very knowledge driven company. We don't just talk about things, but we want to understand what's going on. So everyone in my company has, a bottom line of understanding what the knowledge is about, where the industry is going, what are the new practices, what is the upcoming new thing that we need to keep up with. Because now that we are such a large size of team, we cannot afford to miss out on the knowledge. So even Tarang and I, we are constantly studying, we are constantly upping our knowledge, especially with young people like you. So when he travels to events, when he goes into masterminds with new industry or young dynamic people like you, our personal intention there is to learn more on what's going on in the industry, how can it impact our business in any way, how can we learn. So I think
Hmm.
that these three things are really have been really helpful for us. Like, both of us have never really worked before, हमने कहीं job नहीं करी है. So still building a process driven company, it's just that we learn from people, turning investors, how to invest,
Hmm.
how to
Hmm.
grow your investee companies, so that our ultimate goal is not just to raise funding to survive. So I think these are few things that we attribute our constant knack of learning and grasping whatever knowledge we can from wherever we can.
Beautiful. So yeah, this one thing that you mentioned about commitment, sticking to one word, one's word and honoring one's word. Absolutely. And I align with that. I really align with that. And this sounds easy, but it's very difficult to stick to, especially when, let's say, you've committed something. In fact, I remember this conversation that Tarang was having with us in the mastermind, wherein he mentioned something wherein they made a commitment, and fulfilling that was actually, it actually meant bearing a huge loss for the company, but it was still done because the affiliates, or I don't know, the partners had to be paid. There was this one thing that he was mentioning. So I totally agree with that. The second thing that you mentioned about integrity, 100%. In fact, this reminds me of something. I'll tell you. Yesterday, so I'm a digital dukandar, this venture of us. We're in the coaching space, wherein we sell, we help people build e-commerce businesses. So
I
there was
know, I
this one
follow
man.
you.
Yeah, so there was this one man who joined the program, who joined the digital Dukandar program, and I received this long email from him, wherein he had, shared some really unpleasant things, like, you guys are cheats, you guys are faking screenshots, you guys, your success stories, they're fake accounts, and keep give me my money back, or just keep your money and keep it for your family, and do this, all
Yeah.
unpleasant things that you would not really want to hear. So I'll tell you, like, when I read that, of course I felt bad. Who wouldn't feel bad reading all of that? But I just asked him one thing, couple of things. One of them was that, okay, I said, listen, man. And he used these words that I'm gonna, I'm in the media industry and I'm gonna, call you out and I will do unleash you and all of that. I was simply, and I was able to say this to him that, okay, man, listen, if you can prove that there's even one screenshot that we've shared is fake, prove it. Invite me for a live interview. If you can prove that there's even one screenshot or even one result that my community has shared has been done by us, prove it. Invite me for an interview. And three, if there's even one promise that we've made and we've not really stuck to it, or we've not delivered it, prove it. I
Mhm.
was able to say this to him, that, okay, this is it,
Yeah.
this is how it is, because, like, these are three things that we believe in. That, one, you want to be truthful, you want to be honest, you want to have integrity, and definitely you want to be authentic. A
Yeah.
lot of times, people, they make huge commitments, are not able to deliver it, and then uh, things just fall. In fact, I was having this conversation with my team yesterday, when I was sharing this incident with them, and this is what I said, that next time if this happens, just be confident. You don't want to lose your calm, because what we do, like, everything that we do is being done with sheer integrity, honesty, and authenticity. So stick to that, and this is very
Absolutely.
important. Yeah, and this is so freaking powerful, because when you have integrity, like, no one in the world, be it your client, be it an affiliate, be it anyone, can show you down or raise fingers at you. And even if they do, people will raise fingers at you, of course. But when you look yourself in the eye, you're gonna know that, listen, I'm doing the right thing. So
Yeah.
I
But
absolutely agree with
I'll add another
that.
angle to it, Nishkarsh. So obviously, I think what you did is amazing, and as an entrepreneur, facing a feedback is the most important thing. My people always tell me that why are you so active on Facebook and Instagram? We can handle
Mhm.
queries ourselves, and you don't need to come. And I was like, no, I've got to handle it. So all the social media, public platforms, I handle myself because I've got to face it for two reasons. One, obviously, I know that we are right, but second, also, Nishkarsh, being in my position, if my company is doing something wrong, only people will tell me that. People inside of my company, either they will not be able to identify. If they are able to identify, I unfortunately they will not own up to it. So I think it is
Mhm.
very, very important also that external feedback be heard with an open mindset. Obviously, most of it is not authentic. Most of it is driven out of an egoistic emotion.
Hmm.
But even if, the 1% has to be true, that gives me the window, to improve, because ultimately I am in the service industry and I have to service people. That's what runs my business. That's what runs my home. So till date, I am very active on social media. There is a support channel that we have, support email ID at Vcomission, that is still configured on my laptop, and no one else in the company monitors it but me. I handle all the hundreds of queries that we get every day myself, because I want an open eye into the world. I want to see what people perceive me. I might be a 10-digit revenue company. I might be doing whatever revenues. If I
Hmm.
go out, no one will come and tell me that your company is doing it. People will not.
Hmm.
Number one, I'm a girl. Number two, I'm running a company. So,
Hmm.
I just feel I will not get honest feedback out in the world. So I have to look out for options where I can get honest feedback, where I can even rectify things if needed.
Beautiful. Yeah, agreed, agreed. I agree with that. Criticism can really, so criticism, or let's say feedback from unhappy customers, it gives you an opportunity to solve problems, to be creative. And
Yeah.
yeah, I absolutely agree with this thing that you said about people are going to tell you problems that you, or let's say your team, would not be able to figure out. That's pretty
Yeah.
good. I agree with that. And this brings me to let's say the last question for today. So we've been talking about making money, 10 digits, and scaling things up. Um what is your why? Like, what is it that keeps you going? A lot of times, especially people who are starting out, or people who've just started becoming profitable or making money, they start because they want to solve a problem for themselves specifically, wherein the biggest problem for most people who start entrepreneurship is money. They want to make money. um, and then they are on these crossroads wherein they no longer know what to do with that money. They no longer know why they do what they do. They no longer know that in what direction are they moving. Like, this is one thing that a lot of people struggle with. In fact, people message me that, listen man, we've crossed this much amount of money, but then I don't want to do this work anymore. I am bored of this and I don't know what I'm doing. So what is it that has kept you going in such a long period of time? And you guys are growing really fast, right? What's your why?
Yeah, so I have two whys. One is, of course, a number that I'm chasing, and it changes every 3 to 5 years. It's not the one constant number. But again, we study a lot. We always look up to, the competition. There is obviously a bigger company out there. So the first motivation, of course, is to, do a bigger thing. And wherever we are, there's still a much bigger ground out there where we could go and play. So, the first is, of course, that.
Hmm.
The second, I think, which has, kind of become, after motherhood happened to me, is, making sure that my people feel happy and secure at work. So this is, a statement. There's a statement by Jack Ma, actually, that, says that I try to make myself happy, because if I'm not happy, my investors, my shareholders, my teammates, my employees, no one is happy. My colleagues, no one is happy. So, the second and the most important thing that, that really drives me is looking at my people. When I walk into the office, everything just goes away, and I'm a very happy person. I just want to work. We want to accomplish something. And that's the energy that I want to give to my team as well. So I think these are the two most important things that drive me during the pandemic. Being the
Hmm.
elephant size that the company that we are, fortunately, even at the group level, actually,
Hmm.
fortunately, we did not have to lay off. We did not have to do, salary cuts. So I think I'm really, really proud that even in tough times like that lasted, really, really long, we were still safe enough to take care of people, who work with our vision.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's awesome. Makes sense. Okay, so this has been a pretty fun conversation, and while you were talking, you were sharing these nuggets. I was, like I said, I was taking notes. We started, like for me, there's so much learning that I've had specifically about leading, team management, growth, leading, the mindset, and this thing that this approach that you shared about feedback. I think that's pretty good, and I'm pleasantly surprised hearing this one thing that you mentioned about you are the only person who moderates the support email of the team, wherein sorry, of the company, so that what's going on, and that's pretty good. Mostly people outsource this thing, and mostly CEOs and people driving companies are just concerned about the marketing and sales, because that's what matters. That's what brings in the money, and then these companies fall down. But these things that you've mentioned about taking care of your people, which means your team, which means your clients, which means the entire community. I think that's the secret. I think that's what's got the companies and the sister companies and all your clients ahead. And congratulations for all the success you've had. You guys deserve all of it. And thank you. Really, thank you
Thank
so much for
you.
sharing all of this and being a part of the show. Thank you for taking time out for this. I'm going to share this with everyone. I'm sure people are going to love it. And I'm going to leave links to the social media profiles that you want below, the video, below the podcast, so that if anyone wants to maybe get in touch with you, they can. And if there's anything else that
Absolutely.
you want to
I'm
share,
very, very active
yeah.
and open, on social media. I love interacting with people and just learning what, their business is, what their mindset is, what they're going through, how can I help? So I really enjoy that.
That's beautiful. That's great. So, if there's anything that you want to say to the audience, I'll tell you. People who listen to the show are usually, either starting out or have just become successful and want to scale things up, right? So, if there's anything that you want to say to them that you've learned from your own journey, please feel free.
Okay, I will, quote Steve Jobs here. I don't remember the exact quote, but he says
Mhm.
that, the brilliant thing that people who win do versus people who don't is that they persevere and they keep on going. And I think that's absolutely what attributes to my journey as well, where, even in the tough times that we had, we did not stop. We just kept going and chasing, a larger goal. And that's why, we are here where we are. So if you are a small business right now trying to make ends meet, just going, just keep going. You will figure it out. The whole thing is you need to work with dedication and you need to have that perseverance. And if you are at a stage where, all your needs are met and you feel you are at a happy place, aim for a bigger goal. Aim for something that would really make you happy. Maybe something not materialistic, something in terms of the size of company or the kind of company or a kind of geography that you would really fancy to position your company in or your product in. And just keep going. I just feel all businesses can hit the pinnacle if the founders and if the visionaries keep going.
Beautiful. That's awesome. That's pretty good. Great. So again, thank you. It's been awesome interacting with you. Thank you so much for your time. Like I said, it's been a pleasure. And you, ladies and gentlemen, if you like the episode, do share it with someone you love, someone you care about, someone you feel is going to get benefit out of this. Take a screenshot of wherever you're seeing this and tag me or Parul on Instagram. I personally would love to give you a freebie shout out. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm going to catch up with you guys in the next episode. And Parul, thanks again.